Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 3 in a series between Liquid Taeja and Grubby here on Daybreak. Grubby spawning as the green Protoss player on the top right hand side of the map, evening up the series at 1 game apiece from Game 2. Meanwhile, Liquid Taeja spawning as the yellow Terran player, at the 7 o'clock position. So Terran versus Protoss once more, and we'll take a look at the strategies, what will come about, and whether or not Taeja... I think this map is wrong. Oh, okay, apparently the map, there was a little bit of confusion on the map for just a second. But taking a look here, you can see that there are blue mineral patches, a full 2 bases here, as opposed to a smaller number. It looks like the variation is that a full expansion, and then there is still a supply depot down on the bottom portion of the ramp, making it so that you cannot get walled in with pylons. Now, basic strategies aside, we'll see what Grubby is able to do. Will he be able to recreate the magic in Game 2, or will something come about here in Game 3? You can see that Taeja is actually building his barracks a little bit further away than normal, and I'm curious as to whether or not Grubby will actually scout this out. Now, if he doesn't scout this out, he may assume that there is some sort of proxy barracks strategy coming into play, and then Grubby may be able to play, or maybe forced to play a little bit more defensively, thinking that there's going to be a lot of units, especially with the refinery already going down. We have often seen barracks be placed down, proxy barracks with concussive shelled marauders. That is an option on this map. I've seen barracks placed down here or here and then charge up the ramp. Grubby now taking a look around. Does he spot the barracks yet? No, he does not, and still dancing around on the inside here. He wants to see if there is barracks. He has not spotted it, and now gonna take a look around here. A new supply depot will be placed down, and finally the barracks has been revealed. And what is Grubby looking to do? Gonna go ahead and build a pylon here, more as a scouting measure than anything else. Alright, so pylon is up on the high ground. He's going to be doing a little bit of scouting there. I believe Grubby should be... Is he going to cancel that pylon? I don't think so. Yes, he is. There you go, cutting in a little bit close as the SCV now and the Marine forced to chase off this one particular probe. The probe looks like it will get taken out as the factory was not scouted out. Let's take a look. Cybernetic score already coming in. Excuse me, the factory was in fact scouted out. So the factory has been placed down there. And now we'll see. Yes, it looks like Taeja is going to be going into perhaps Banshees. Double gas early on. Not the economic game that Grubby faced in Game 1. Instead, it is going to be a very, very tech-driven game. Perhaps expansions coming around the 7 to 10 minute mark as the SCV does simply slip by, taking a little bit of zap damage. And I believe that Stalker will get off that final shot right there. Alright, factory already landing, and is it going to perhaps try and set up some Hellions? Yes, and it will be some Hellions coming along the far side here. Now, the double gas was definitely revealed, and we are now going into a starport and with a tech lab. Now, this does normally mean Banshees, but because there are also Hellions being trained up, I wouldn't be surprised if a medevac was added just to try and elevator those units up the ramp. Robotics facility is being added as well. Grubby knowing very well how effective Banshees are and wanting to make sure that he does have an observer just in case there is cloaked Banshees. Hellions now being trained. Second Hellion already coming out here. Banshee has not yet been started, surprisingly. Perhaps needing the additional minerals. Nope, it has just been constantly training up more and more units and getting cloak, and now finally getting that Banshee, but he is supply blocked. Perhaps should consider canceling a Marine in order to get out that unit. Yes, or canceled an SCV there as the Marines are now backing off. Hellions trying to make their way up, and oh, a interesting play as the Hellion has been able to make it on the inside here. The probes now trying to come in. The lower hit point probes should back out. Did that one Hellion get a kill yet? No, I do not believe so, but a new fresh Hellion gonna make its way over. Let's take a look at this. Grubby now coming in. Sentries now making their way in as well, and it looks like the 2 Hellions will simply be destroyed as we are now going into 1 observer. So there is 1 stalker, 2 sentries out on the field, one observer in the air, as there is already an observer down here. Grubby, does he spot the Banshee already flying? He should suspect that there is going to be cloaked Banshees here in just a moment, as the Banshee now makes its way across the map. Command center now being established over here at the 9 o'clock position. Banshee now looking to park itself off. Where is it going to go, and how much damage can it really hope to deal? There needs to be much more stalkers, or many more stalkers here, but all the units are sitting over here at the main base. The Banshee is going to be able to get out some easy shots against that Nexus. That Nexus isn't going to be doing very much of anything except for training probes that are getting killed right the moment they pop out. All right, the Banshee now looking to slip forward. The Stalker, is it going to be able to catch up here? It looks like it is going to be able to catch up. Well, another probe does get taken out, and as the probes are going to get picked off slowly but surely. Taeja now down to 60 hit points on that Banshee, down to 50, and is able to back away. A second Banshee now looking to come in inside the main base. Is there an observer here? Yes, there is still an observer there as well. There is a Banshee hiding off over here. A new observer coming in here. So Grubby has split up his army and will be able to handle this two-pronged Banshee harassment. All right, in comes the top Banshee first. Banshee now looking to come in here, and the Stalkers are going to be able to get out some easy shots. It looks like one probe was taken down. Now two probes are taken down. This Banshee, I believe, was killed. Yes, that Banshee was killed. This Banshee down to 10 hit points and able to barely escape, as there is still one observer on the inside. So Grubby, going to see this transition into siege tanks with siege tech. Has to be careful though, as there is a Raven popping out of that starport. So the starport will be able to spot and reveal that observer. Down goes the observer. There it goes. And now that Raven, perhaps with that point defense drone, will be able to do just a little bit more. Now, taking a look, Grubby already has his natural expansion up and running pretty well. Already has double gas. Taeja will need to come over and repair these Banshees, and I believe he's going to come back with a Banshee siege tank marine composition, and perhaps even adding some medevacs here. No, it is just going to be Banshees, Marines, and siege tanks. So the Banshees are going to be very, very high DPS units. And what's also effective about these Banshees is that because they're flying units, they can clump up together, and you generally have a much higher efficient DPS ball, since those units are in the air as opposed to taking up valuable real estate on the ground. We are going to be going into double engineering base and a Templar archives by both of these players respectively, and the sentries may be able to perhaps get off some important force fields. There are two Banshees now currently on the field, and Taeja looking to get in a little bit more damage. This probe will not see the light of another day here on Daybreak, as the Banshees are going to simply fly over, shoot it down, and there it goes. Nexus will most likely get canceled here in just a second. This buying some time though. Stalkers are now making their way over, and the Banshees get off one round of attack, as there is also an Immortal in this group. Stalkers getting in some easy shots onto those Banshees. No blink though, and without blink, unable to catch up and take those units down. Marines now looking around the map for some possible proxy pylons. Observers now positioning themselves in multiple locations, hoping to gain key sight of any strategies, as Taeja now transitioning into very heavy bio. 5 barracks. The reactor is now on that starport, as I mentioned earlier. And now, will we perhaps see Psystorm? Yes, we will, but will we also see Colossi? Triple pylons down over here. Stalkers, sentries, and Immortals now making their way over. No upgrades on the weapons, only upgrades on the armor, surprisingly, on these Immortals, Stalkers, and sentries. Coming back over here, the factory now making its way over to do a bit of scouting. Perhaps it will land and also train up some Hellions, causing a little bit more problems once again. Normally, at this stage, Protoss players who are up on bases do have a significant advantage. Let's take a look at the harvester count, 56 to 56, less diminishing returns by Grubby, but then again, Grubby will be forced to defend much more of the map than his opponent. Taeja still training up more units. Grubby should be able to warp in some more units as well. High Templar are regrouping, and Grubby, with all of these High Templar, if he can engage before there are Ghosts, will really come out ahead. We saw how effective Taeja was with Ghosts in the previous matchup, but without that Ghost Academy, he obviously cannot train them, and he's not going to be able to shut down all of this all of this force here. You can see photon cannons now coming in. There is one High Templar here. It looks like the factory is simply just going to get shot down here. Nope, is going to be able to fly away. The factory is going to perhaps go down to 600 hit points at the least. No, down to 805, and that's going to be no problem. We now see proxy pylons are being set up by Grubby across the map. It is 3 bases, the 3 bases. Banshee's now looking to fly over here. There is one High Templar, so the High Templar should be able to get in a nice feedback onto these Banshees and perhaps shut them down. Zealots now making their way over into the 3rd base, most likely, as there are now medevacs coming over as well. Cloaked Banshees in the center portion of the map. High Templar, oh, there's a feedback. And, oh, trying to cloak, decloak. Oh, very nice strategy coming in from Taeja. I don't know if you realize this, but Taeja was purposely cloaking and decloaking his Banshee just to remove the energy from it. And by removing the energy from it, he cannot get feedback. That was a huge play there. As you can see that Taeja is very low on hit points on these Banshees. Zealots were trying to make their way in. Not much is going to happen there as the Marines have come off. But what's this? Up across the center here. In comes a major army. Ghost, auto turrets, EMP shockwave not coming down though. But a whole bunch of energy essentially wasted by Taeja. But Taeja does know he has these 3-minute auto turrets here that will act as a little bit more defense. Zealots now once again trying to make their way in, gonna take down one SCV. There it goes, as now the Banshees are trying to give chase again. There is still a factory off over here, a new base being established by Grubby down over here on the bottom right hand side of the map. Banshees now making their way in to shut down the Zealots, but feedback onto both of those Banshees, and that, my friends, is why Taeja is so good. He knew that feedback was going to come into play, and now that Archon was going to get destroyed. But those two Banshees definitely worth their destructive power, as they have taken down Archons, Zealots, and a whole bunch of other units. All right, we'll see what's going to be happening now. The Marines are upgraded 1-1, soon to be 2-2, but they will now be going up against Colossi with extended thermal lance range. Grubby doing a quick tech change into Colossi away from those High Templars. That was a very smart move. And by doing exactly that, he's going to force Viking production. Now what he needs to do is he needs to utilize these High Templars and start feedbacking the medevacs. As soon as you can start feedbacking the medevacs, then Stim cannot be utilized nearly as much, and the feedbacks themselves may be destroyed. If there are no medevacs, then it puts Taeja in a position where he needs to decide whether he wants to train Vikings or medevacs here, as we now going to see the engagement, but there are simply too many ghosts. Those ghosts, one feedback, two, oh nope, another second feedback did not go off. No sight up onto the high ground there. That was a bit of a problem. Grubby now down to 4 High Templars in this group. What is going to be happening now as the Zealots, and there's a little bit of a zoning action there. Storm across a whole bunch of units, and now Marines and Marauders need to get healed up again. Both sides sitting up nearly at maximum supply, 199 compared to 200. Grubby sitting with 1-3 upgraded Colossi. And how much damage will they be able to do? Photon cannons now trying to warp in as well. Is Grubby going to be able to warp in these photon cannons in time? He has about another 20 seconds or so. Factory is overhead. Taeja now looking to back away and may end up losing a lot of units in transit. Oh my goodness. Colossi coming in with the swipes. Also, what? Zealots coming in, and now the Ghosts may get taken down. The Zealots are just going to be charging in and taking down many of those units, and now we could have a little bit of a flank here. No, in transit, Storm coming in across the board. All the Zealots taking in way too much damage, especially after those EMP shockwaves did land. All right, Factory sitting at 615 hit points now. Those photon cannons. Oh, what is this? Taeja now perhaps going to try to train up some Hellions, as there is a small group of units making their way inside. One robotics facility has been taken down, and now more units are trying to come in as well, going after the mineral line here. There is still one photon cannon. That photon cannon acting as good base defense. And now Zealots may try to rush in over here once more. Taeja is going to be in a little bit of a dangerous situation if the Zealots are able to make their way inside here. Here we go. High Templars are coming in from reserve as well. It looks as though the factory may get lifted off, and now in comes a large group of units. The Zealots are going to try to make their way in. Are the Storms going to land anywhere important? Yes, it does hit a good amount of bio here, but it will simply just get flanked. And now in comes the large attack by Grubby again. Grubby coming in with 3 Colossi, a whole bunch of High Templar, And how much damage are they looking to do? Vikings are in position. Here we go. Vikings taking down the Colossi. EMP Shockwave on the Colossi themselves. There comes some Psystorm. Both sides just melting away from each other. And what is this? It looks like Taeja will simply be able to overwhelm all the units here. Vikings chasing down those Colossi, and the Colossi, another one does get taken down, but the Vikings are now getting picked apart by Stalkers on the ground. All right, it looks as though the Vikings are getting shot down, but 3 Vikings being trained at a time as this one Colossi tries to finish the rest, and Grubby, oh wow, another round of Psystorm. Where exactly did that come from? All right, all of these very, very low hit point bio units. We need to see perhaps 1 or 2 more Psystorms. The medevacs are starting to get lower and lower on energy. All right, factory is now up in the air. Supply is 184 to 129. Grubby just having 1 bad engagement, and now Taeja looks to be in dominant control once more, as we are now moving into what I believe the late game. Will Grubby be able to hold off this attack by Taeja? Psystorm, a definite possibility. Zealots, Archons, Vikings in the air, and I believe this base will simply just get taken down. These 4 photon cannons not going to be able to do very much of anything, as the High Templars getting destroyed. And now here we go, perhaps a little bit of a flank. There's an EMP Shockwave. Ghost now trying to engage. Nexus already destroyed in a matter of seconds, and Taeja's army is just too strong and in too good of a position. 3-3 upgrades compared to 3-2 upgrades so far. All right, EMP Shockwaves coming in. High Templars pretty much out of energy. No more Psystorm. And now it was really that instant production of Ghost from Taeja that I believe will give Taeja the victory here. All right, are we going to see enough Zealots to fend off this last attack? Another double snipe come in, and I believe that will be all she wrote. Taeja now with over 100% advantage, over 100 supply difference between these 2 armies, as the Vikings are just going to park themselves here and try to intercept. Grubby could have 1 last effort worth of units. There are Zealots and High Templars here. Stalkers could be coming in. Another Nexus does fall. Grubby engaging here. Are we going to perhaps see? And there you go, the Vikings. And the Vikings now being forced to pull back, as we do have some Dark Templar. There is also 1 Raven in the group, I believe, somewhere. And Grubby is now sitting at 114 supply. What is he going to do? He needs to really utilize those Psystorms and become very effective with them, as we are now seeing Marines and the probes just transferring themselves right in the group of all these Marines and Marauders. That's a heavy hit there. Psystorm, no, has not rained down just quite yet. Zealots now going to try to engage. Dark Templars, and still a little bit of this back and forth action coming in. Zealots now trying to engage. The Marines and the Marauders simply just too much together. Here you go. There's that Psystorm, and walking straight through it. Another Psystorm there. The Ghosts are now just going to be going after the probes. The probes can get 2-shotted here. Both sides still fighting it out. Marines and Marauders, and it looks like Taeja with the superior macro going to come out on top and take the victory here. And there is the GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 3 in this best of 3 series.